This aircraft, Helios Airways Flight 522, this is the call sign of the aircraft, with the registration 5 Bravo Delta Bravo Yankee. This is a Boeing 737 which crashed near Athens, Greece on 14th August 2005. Why was this flight called the ghost flight? Who was at the controls? Why everyone was dead even before the aircraft crashed? What was this one switch which caused the accident? This was a flight from the small island Cyprus to Prague in Czech Republic via Athens in Greece. Correct? It has an intermediate stop in Athens where the aircraft has crashed. The aircraft took off at 0607 UTC. All the times mentioned in the video are in UTC. Now, as the aircraft climbed, the control cleared the aircraft till Athens at flight level 340, that is 34,000 feet. The aircraft was configured to fly on autopilot till Athens. Now, as they climbed, the crew reported some air conditioning problems. Now, at 12,000 feet, they heard an alarm going off in the cabin. Right? They thought it was takeoff configuration warning. Now, what is this takeoff configuration warning? Correct? We'll see in the next slide. This part of the wing are called as flaps. These flaps can be controlled with a lever inside the cockpit. If you are ever sitting beside the wing on an aircraft, just before the landing, you will see these flaps are fully out. Right? This is called as flaps to land. Flaps to land, or called as flaps full. That means the flaps are fully down in this position. Correct? Flaps 40. Now, for example, if you take this is your runway, you are going to land, and you are coming like this to land. Now, what happens is the aircraft, while cruising, will have a lot of speed. Correct? You should touch down on the runway at the least possible speed. It should be the minimum speed. Now, if you lose speed, there is a chance that you will stall and hit the aircraft very hard to the ground. Correct? So, what you do is you put the flaps to full. So, if you take this is the cross section of your wing. Correct? Now, lift is generated because of the differential pressure, because the air flows above and below with some pressure difference, the lift is generated. Now, this lift depends on the surface area of the wing. Now, if you put the flaps full, the surface area is increased and the lift generated will be very high. And also, these flaps will create a drag on the aircraft, which will pull the aircraft backwards. So that means the speed of this aircraft will be less, and with this less speed also it will not lose lift and fall down because it has lot more lift due to flaps now. Correct? These are called as landing flaps or full flaps. Now, while takeoff, you set the flaps between 5 and 15. Correct? Because now, if this is the wing, correct? If you set full flaps, there will be a lot of drag. So the aircraft cannot take off at this flap setting. If there are no flaps, now the surface area which produces lift is less, so that the aircraft will need more length of runway. Correct? So why? So that is the reason you put flaps only till 5 to maximum of 15 degrees while takeoff. So that means the lift is increased. Correct? At the initial stages, lift is increased a lot, but drag increases only a bit. Correct? So lift is lot more increased and drag is only increased a bit. That means you will take off at a shorter length of runway. Correct? This is called as takeoff configuration. 5 to 15 is called as takeoff configuration. By any chance, if you forget to put your flaps here in this position, there will be a warning while takeoff that your flaps are not fit, or your flaps are not put for takeoff, correct? So that was the alarm which went in the cockpit. The pilot couldn't figure out the reason for this takeoff configuration warning, since it has to happen only on the ground, that too only during the takeoff, correct? Now the aircraft is on autopilot and is climbing now. The crew decides to call the company and talk to the engineer. They make a call at 16,000 feet. Now, this conversation between the engineer and the captain lasts for about 8 minutes. Meanwhile, the aircraft climbs to 28,900 feet. Thereafter, whatsoever, there is no contact or no response to any radio call from the cockpit of this aircraft. Meanwhile, when the captain and the engineer were having the conversation and the aircraft was climbing on the autopilot, at 18,200 feet, oxygen masks were deployed in the passenger cabin and a master caution alarm went off in the cockpit. Neither the crew knew why this alarm went off, nor did they knew that oxygen masks were deployed in the cabin. Correct. At 7:20, that is since more than 1 hour 10 minutes after the aircraft took off, or more than 40 minutes after the aircraft was last communicated, the aircraft entered FIR of Athens. Correct? The aircraft entered Athens FIR. Now, FIR is a region which is controlled by a control. This control is responsible for all the traffic in the FIR. So you have to inform before entering any FIR. This was not communicated to the control, and the aircraft entered the Athens FIR. Subsequently, it overflew Athens and then it went onto a holding pattern. It went onto a holding pattern at 7:38. Now, the air traffic control of Athens knew that something is going wrong. Correct? They have alerted the Air Force and two F-16 fighter jets were deployed, which intercepted the aircraft at 8:24. Now, when they took a closer look at the cockpit, the pilot was not in his seat and the first officer was slouching on the controls. They took a look at the passenger cabin. All the passengers were with the oxygen mask and they were slouching, sleeping, or unconscious. After 25 minutes of interception, they saw a person awake and entering the cockpit without mask. He entered the cockpit and sat in the captain's chair and he was slouching on the controls. He was partially awake. Now, as soon as he sat in the captain's seat and he was trying to do something, within 1 minute of it, left engine flames up. That means due to lack of fuel, due to fuel getting consumed entirely, the engine went off. Now, see, this is the left engine, this is the right engine. Now, when the left engine goes off, as the plane was pushed by two engines and left engine went off, so there is only push from one side. So it took a left bank and lost the altitude. Now the aircraft starts descending. Now as the aircraft descends, correct, in 4 minutes it would have reached a flight level where oxygen was enough for the passenger or the person in the cockpit. Now, fully awake, he gives a mayday call or a distress call, but it was too late. At 9 o'clock, right engine flames off, and at 9:03 the aircraft crashes into a hill 33 kilometers northwest of Athens International Airport. Now, see, the person in the cockpit is a cabin crew. He had a commercial pilot license, but he was not type rated on 737. He knew only to fly smaller airplanes. Correct? Now, in 3 minutes, the aircraft has descended 7,100 feet, which approximately is 2,500 feet per minute rate of descent, which was too much for a Boeing 737, and it crashed. Till now we have seen what has happened from pilot's point of view. Now let's see what really happened in the aircraft. The alarm and the caution lights in the cockpit were not due to the aircraft being in wrong takeoff configuration, but were due to aircraft pressurization issues. Now, to understand the pressurization issues on board, let's take a further look into the technical concepts of Boeing 737 pressurization system. This aircraft is flying at 20,000 feet at a speed of 320 knots, correct? At 20,000 feet at a speed of 320 knots on a heading of 240. Now let's take a look at pressurization panel. It's overhead to the right side of the cockpit. This is a pressurization panel. Here, as you are flying at 20,000 feet, you have set your flight altitude as 20,000 feet. Now, this is the landing altitude. You have set 4,500. That means you are going to land in an airport where the vertical height from the mean sea level is 4,500. Now, these are the two indicators. Right? Now, if you take this indicator, this small needle indicates your cabin altitude. Now you know that as you go up, the pressure of air decreases, correct? So there will be less oxygen to breathe. What happens is, in a cabin, you pressurize as if you are flying at a lower altitude. That's called cabin pressure. This indicates cabin pressure. Now, this aircraft which is flying at 20,000 feet has a cabin pressure of around, say, around 2,000 feet. That means as if the passenger is feeling he is at an altitude of 2,000 feet. Now, this bigger needle will indicate differential pressure. That is the difference between the outside air at 20,000 feet and the inside air. Now, it's around 27,000 feet, correct? Now, if you set this knob to manual, correct? If you set this knob to manual and if you open the valve, the air inside the cabin which is under high pressure will go out through the open valve, correct? Let's see how it is done. Now, see, this he is turning the auto to manual. See, the manual has come up, and he has opened the valve. Now that means there is a hole in the cockpit, and the air is escaping. Correct. See, the differential pressure between the outside and inside is increasing. The bigger needle, and the cabin altitude is increasing. That means you will feel as if you are flying at higher altitudes, and you will suffocate. Correct. See, when you are passing 10,000 feet, there will be an alarm which is called as altitude horn cutoff. But the problem is this alarm is very similar to takeoff configuration alarm. Correct. That's why the two pilots in the cockpit got confused. Now see, the cabin altitude has reached 20,000 feet because the aircraft was flying at 20,000 feet, and the differential pressure has been reached zero. That means the person in or the passengers inside the airplane will feel as if they are flying actually at 20,000 feet without any pressurization. That is very detrimental, and it can lead to death in a matter of minutes. That is what that has happened in this aircraft. Now that you have understood the Boeing 737 pressurization issues, we'll move forward. The oxygen mask has dropped down in the cabin at 18,000 feet, correct? Which we have discussed earlier. But see, this oxygen mask can last for only 12 minutes because the oxygen given via this mask is via a chemical reaction that can supply to passenger or whoever is using this mask for only 12 minutes. This is because whenever depressurization happens in an aircraft, mostly because a door blows off, correct? A hole in the cabin or a hole in the window. When these issues occur, pilots have enough time of 12 minutes to come down to a level of 10,000 feet where everyone can breathe easily. So it is designed to provide only for 12 minutes. Now the question is, how did one guy manage to survive for so long? Because he is a cabin crew, he has an access for oxygen cylinder nearby. So he was breathing from oxygen cylinder. That's why he did not pass out for a long period of time. After this accident, a lot of changes were made to the airline, and also that aircraft, which was a Boeing 737-300 series, the next generation of Boeing 737s, 400, 500, they all had some changes, like for example, to this pressurization system, not only an oral warning, was there, but also a visual warning. My recommendation from this accident investigation is that as long as you are student pilots in your flying school, where you spend around 1 to 1.5 year, be good friends with your engineers. Ask them about everything. If there is a switch in the aircraft, you should know what it does. I sincerely thank the engineers at my flight school, Javid sir and Alok sir, for letting me hands-on experience on most of the things, letting me participate when they are doing some kind of repairs or anything with the aircrafts. Correct. My technical subject is so strong because of you. Thanks a lot to you, sirs. Have a good day.